I am sure most people have driven by these corrugated iron sheds and not even wondered what they were. That's understandable. They're not very impressive looking, just a lot of old buildings. But for many years, they were the stage for a very important chapter of Thai International's history. For a quarter century, this was the heart of Thai's cargo operations. But the cargo department has grown so much that these buildings no longer serve a useful purpose. Soon they will be torn down, and we'll move into the new cargo village, where we'll have more space and more modern facilities. But these buildings will always remain, if not in physical fact, then in the hearts of the men and women who worked in them. These big iron buildings were not our original home. We started out in even more humble surroundings at the northern end of the airport.
Is where it all began in 1960. Thai had only a small part of the building, this small slot as a warehouse, and the office upstairs. It is hard to believe we did it with only 7 men and worked 24 hours a day. But then we were only handling 2 tons a day, mostly small packages.
Did you have any equipment for with or tiger?
Oh, none. It all by hand. I remember a hauling of 3-man wigs bound to Europe from Indonesia. We had only the baggage cart to pull by hand, but now all gone.
What did that look like?
Like that.
In a way, life was more interesting in the early days. The narrow-bodied aircraft, like the Caravel, could hold a maximum 500 kilogram load, and this had to be divided between passenger baggage and cargo. The baggage went in first, and we got whatever space was left over. We had only 1 hour to work before the plane took off. We had to use our ingenuity to fit it all in. Today's generation would have a hard time of it because they are very much used to containers, where you have a lot of time to plan. The cargo business grew rapidly, and we soon needed more space. In 1970, we took over an old flight kitchen next door, which we converted into a warehouse.
When I arrived here in 1974 as the cargo manager, I was shocked. There was so much cargo and so little space to put it. It was incredible. The whole place had the atmosphere of a morning market. Somewhere behind the stacks of cargo was the cargo terminal. I was always amazed by our staff's smiling patience in coping with what was an impossible situation. In 1975, Thai began flying wide-body aircraft, and the space problem became very serious. Cargo was being stacked on the rampways, and it was obvious that we needed new warehouses, and quickly.
At the south end of the airport were some Air Force hangars in which old planes were stored. We acquired one in 1976 and thought we had solved our space problems. But in 1978, business had grown so much that we had to get a second hangar. In 1980, we took over hangars 3 and 4. Between 1979 and 1981, traffic was particularly heavy. We had only one 500-kilogram scale to handle all the goods. Long queues of people would wait while we tried to cope. During the Longan and Durian seasons, the situation was almost impossible. One of our biggest problems was rain. Whenever rain began to fall, we had to rush out with plastic sheets. and cover everything in a hurry. It was a real panic. I know that after we move into the new cargo village, that every time I hear the rain coming, my first thought will be to run out with plastic sheets and cover up everything. Floods were another problem. We have them every year. In 1980, the water was 14 inches deep. Cargo was floating everywhere.
In the former days, the busiest and confusing time was during the rainy days. It was flooded in the warehouse and as well as in the offices. Just imagine how confusing they were. One of my fondest memories of floods was coming into the office one day when we were still in the old flight kitchen. It looked like a laundry room. The airway bills had all been soaked by the leaking roof, so the office workers had run strings across the room and hung up all the documents to dry like laundry.
Part of the handicap surroundings, we have installed an ORCID computer system in 1983 to solve the information and documentation problems. Right now, all our printouts are generated by the system. We can now put the cargo in any rack and find it instantly. It made everybody's job easier.
We installed new racking which kept most of the goods above the flat line. It made it a lot easier to get in and out, which was especially important when we had to put a consignment together quickly. Containerization was a big help. With containers, we didn't have to work out the exact measurements of a load. We knew already that the cargo in the container would also fit in the plane. We still use pallets for a major part of our work. Some of the old ways don't change. One of the most persistent of the old ways is the manner in which we measure the size of loads. We know all about contour measurement systems, but many of the old-timers find that the fastest method is to measure it against their height.
They have worked it out, and their method is 99.9% accurate. I have never failed to be amazed by Thai ingenuity. In Europe, we have special machines to drop a cargo net over a pallet. Well, here, there aren't any machines, so the workers just simply toss the net over the pallet like a fishing net. And it's probably more accurate than anything else anyway.
One thing about working with cargo, life is never dull. One day, in 1980, we had a consignment of 400 Cobras in transit from Rangoon to Hong Kong. They were kept outside for 2 weeks and had managed to bite holes in their cloth bags. Some boys saw them poking their heads through the flimsy wooden crates and threw rocks to keep them inside. But the stones broke the boxes, and in a short while, we had 400 Cobras everywhere. We never knew where one would turn up. We must have killed 300 of them over the next few weeks. Some of the workers cooked them up for lunch. They were delicious. Dogs were another problem. They were always getting out of their cages and then escaping. I remember one that stayed in the grass between the runways for about a week. We left food out for it, but could never catch it. Then someone came up with a bright idea to telex its owner and find out its name. We just called its name and it ran right up to us. One of the more amusing reports came from a captain carrying a pair of baby elephants to a zoo in Dublin in 1979. He said, "The elephants were equipped with a briefing card telling that during ground stop they needed about 10 gallons of water each. With such knowledge, NF should have anticipated that such an amount of liquid does neither evaporate through the thick elephant skin, nor is it contained in the system." Out came The same amount of liquids, only with a change of color and order, covering the cargo floor, pantry, and cockpit floors, adding an exotic smell to our dinner. I do not know why, but when the otherwise so neat Thai crew entered the Frankfurt Sheraton, everybody was holding his nose and giving us strange looks.
We have had a moment of heroism one day. Builders were working outside the warehouse number 1. Though they were careful, some spark dropped down and somehow get into the warehouse, setting fire to cartons of tissues on the bottom shelf. So Kun Sum tried to save goods on the upper shelf, many of which were partially burned through. What a shock we got when we discovered that they were live ammunition. What happened if they caught fire? We would all have been dead. Kun Somkit was a real hero.
Oh no, not really. If I had known what was in the boxes.
We have had some proud moments when we covered Thai International in glory. In 1983, we entered the interline football competition in England and placed 3rd. Not bad for a small airline playing against some of the world's biggest airlines. It has been an eventful 25 years. We have seen a lot of growth. The workers have done an admirable job despite the limited facilities. We have succeeded because we have responded to situations in a Thai manner, working together like a family to help each other. It's hard to believe. We began with 7 people handling 2 tons a day. Now we have a staff of 370 people handling up to 500 tons a day for 26 airlines. But now the situation has become chaotic. The receiving, customs, storage, and assembly areas in warehouses 3 and 4 are badly overcrowded. In the inbound cargo area, there are so many people and cargoes that it is difficult to keep track of everything. It is a wonder nothing gets lost. It is the same inside the offices, no place to move. We even had to use old passenger buses as offices. So the old cargo area has had its day. Now it is time to move. I think everybody is happy that we will have a brand new building and also new equipment to make things easier. We are excited about moving into the new cargo village, but I don't think any of us will ever forget what we experienced here. It was unique, a lot of hard work that challenged all of us to do our best. A little bit of history in which we worked to make Thai a better company. We are all proud of that.